Hello, dear Aries, and welcome back to Mind, Body, and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do reading for what's left of March. Hope you're well, Aries. So, we start already, apparently, with the moon as your current energy. Very well. So, this is a general reading, and Five of Pentacles as your challenge. This is a general reading from Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Nine of Cups as your focus. Okay. Let's see. This is your advice, judgment. And Seven of Pentacles as your future energy. And we have the Ace of Wands as your underlying energy. Nice. Okay, let's clarify these cards before we even go into this. What are these cards here? I'm just going to use the Rider-Waite deck this time. Nine of Wands with the Moon as your current energy. High Priestess with the Five of Pentacles as your challenge. Temperance with the Nine of Cups as your focus. The Hangman with Judgment as your advice. Okay, I've got a bunch here. The Knight of Cups and the Four of Swords as your future energy, my dear. Alright, Aries. And we have Strength along with the Ace of Wands as your current energy. What this is all about. This is what it's all about, my dear. Okay, so the Ace of Wands and Strength for the month of March 2020. I think you're awakening to your own power. And Aries, you are very powerful. You are one of the you can move mountains, Aries, and you're incredibly strong. So Strength, well, which symbolizes Leo, but it's a sister sign, a fire sign, right? But there's not the point. It's not going to the cards, into the signs now. The point is that with the Ace of Wands, like you really understand something at a deep level. But this is not just mind understanding. This is an insight. It's kind of like that type of like something just wakes up within you. And strength has a lot to do with really incorporating our wild side within ourselves. Getting in touch with it. Maybe your wild side wakes up a little bit more than, I don't know, more than it was lately. And it kind of makes sense. It's March, it's spring, your season starting at towards the end of the month. So, by the way, happy birthday to those Aries is born in March. I think you're coming back to life, and you're coming back to, I don't know, maybe your sexual energy starts being a little bit more active, or a bit more, not just a little bit. I don't know. It feels like quite a revigorating awakening, and I think that's really good for you, actually. If you felt dormant lately, or if you felt like I don't know, somehow disconnected from what you know to be your inner passion and drive, which is very important for you, I think that's coming back to you. Okay. Now, what's going on in here? Of the Moon and the Nine of Wands. The moon talks obviously about fears. What is it that you fear now? And the Nine of Wands, I think you may be a little bit overguarded, overprotected, defensive if you wanted. And obviously, you might be afraid of the fact of being hurt the way you've been in the past. The Nine of Wands is somebody who's experimented, who's, is that a word? Experiment. It's somebody who's like had been through life and had learned and not survived many wars and had learned the art of war. But it also, the whole, this is the wounded warrior, right? And see, it's important to see that the wound that's represented here is on his head, because he has the memory of all the past wounds, and now he erected this big wall behind him, and he's experiencing the world from behind the wall. So my dears, I think that somehow maybe having this whole fire energy coming back to you and feeling like your whole being gets lit up in a sense. You may be terrified of this. You may be afraid of your own passion. You may be afraid of your own drive. You may be afraid of your own animal side. Maybe you had to I don't know, tame your impulses for a good long time. And I'm sure you had your reasons. Yeah, something just came in quite intensely. What came in right now was that you're afraid to lose it all. You may be having something. You may be maybe the reason why you had to kind of shut down a part of yourself was that you had someone, person, a job, a situation that you felt that you couldn't show up yourself fully. You could not bring the lion along because it would have been too much for the rest. It's too strong, too wild, too, we eat them alive. And it happens. I mean, like, I completely understand. When we don't know how to relate to our strong fire and impulses, it can end up burn ourselves and the rest. So not really know how to cope with it. We can shut it down at times. Anyway, the message that came through for a moment there was that you may be really terrified of losing something with the Five of Pentacles here. Of losing that position that you gained, whatever position that might be, by kind of suppressing this lion. And you've probably been there before. That's the thing with the Nine of Wands. You might have been there before. You might have been in this situation before where your wild side came up and you just I don't know. You just took over and you couldn't feel yourself anymore and you weren't able to control it. And as I'm saying, this is like, I completely understand why you had to do it. But I have the feeling with the Nine of Wands, and by the way, this is the Ace and this is the Nine, so it's like almost a full circle here. And you're jumping from one straight to the rest, to the end almost. The Nine of Wands, I feel like, you're being called to learn to tame this lion within yourself. It's really important. That's where all our passion lies. This is where our drive lies. And if you completely ignore this part of you, you cease to feel truly alive, and you feel like you've abandoned yourself. And we're getting there. Was the moon first, right? Yeah. If you're afraid of losing something, you've already lost it by not incorporating your inner fire. You're at your best, Aries, when you're acting from that fire. But that fire obviously needs to be tamed, needs to be, you know, make it be a nurturing fire. You can have a fire that destroys an entire house, or you can have a fire that just lights up a space or warms up a room, you know. And sometimes, yeah, I think I've already said this. I don't know why I feel the need to repeat myself. Sorry. If we don't get in touch with that side of ourselves, we may, yeah, we're like almost hollow. And it may feel like that at times. You may feel like that at times. You may feel like, oh my God, yeah, you may feel maybe rational or irrationally speaking, maybe with reason, or maybe sometimes with no reason, like you've been somehow left out in the cold and abandoned, either by your friend or by the people in your life, either by a lover, either by but that's the thing, like in the end, ultimately you've been abandoning a part of yourself, and you haven't been showing up fully. And to go around again in this, yeah, and you've done that so that you don't end up here, right? To not end up in alone. And yeah, and it seems that you're quite afraid of being alone. The high priestess is also in a challenge position. The high priestess is somebody who spends time in solitude in order to find that inner wisdom, right? She's very connected to her intuition. She's the mother of all mothers, basically. She's really the symbolism of the feminine energy, and in her wisdom, that wise part of the feminine energy. And whether you're female or male, you do have this energy within you. And the high priestess also talks about birth of duality. You have the black and white here, the two columns. She's learning and she's mastering both, like the opposites within herself. And that it can be a really scary part to be. Like sometimes we can be so damn split. If we really just go inside ourselves. So sometimes I jump so much from one side of me to the other. I can't really tell, because it happens so fast, and my perception changes as I go from one side to another. But they can be two opposite sides. And sometimes we just need to, like, yeah, okay, go observe them both and find what connects them, find what's all in between them. That's exactly how we resolve dualities and pair of opposites. They're always the two sides of the same coin. We just need to zoom out a little bit. And that's what the high priestess does. That's why she masters both of them, because she's got that time and space where she really, by taking so much time to just sit with it, for let's put it this way, she goes so much in both sides that she starts understanding them both, and she starts detaching and stop identifying with them, and then she can see the link in between as well. Yeah, it's interesting. I see the Five Pentacles here, and then I see the I really don't know how to pronounce the name of this fruit in English, sorry. But promulgate, that one. There you go. Um I think that you're afraid of losing what you have and being coming back into this familiar feeling of separation and abandonment. But you also know that you have it within yourself to um I don't know, you have that wisdom and you have that inner strength and you have that intuition that's telling you that it's okay. This is not something that's happening outside of yourself, it's something that's happening within yourself. And it's great because they're coming together. The lady and the lion are coming back together with the Ace of Wands here. And look at your focus. Your focus is the Nine of Wands and Temperance. The Nine of Cups and Temperance. Nine of Cups, yeah, you have it all. You have it all. There's not much to fear. If you're coming always like from a place of fear that you may end up in the same situations that you've been before, and that you may lose whatever you'll be having now. That's kind of like how tyranny is being born, because that whole fear of losing what you work so hard to get. And as I said, that might be a good position, that might be a good job, that might be a just good life situation in general. And it may be quite good, but it's never complete unless you bring this lion along. That's where the fear really comes from. Because based on like your focus here says like, okay, you had all your wishes fulfilled, or you're having them as we speak. You see that there's like so much going on. Sometimes we get terrified even when that happens. We're like, okay, this where when it's gonna flip, all these great things are happening and it's good to be true, and something will happen to just like turn the wheel, and I'm terrified of that moment now. I think it's time for you to just enjoy everything that you have. And Temperance, this is like Leo energy and this is Sagittarius energy, both the fire energies. And Temperance talks about like, they're both cards of balance in a sense. This lady is taming this beautiful wild lion, and this angel here with a fiery heart is like tempering out the waters as the emotional realm. And he's and I think that's the solution for you, focusing on how much you've got, focusing on how far you've got, and focusing on those that joy and happiness that is present in your life. It's important to really acknowledge it and feel it and be present with it. And with having Temperance here, it's just telling you that you can be curious about how things play out as well. Have trust in yourself and in your journey and in your path. If we always come from this place of fear, and I'm not saying, oh my God, like you're making it on purpose, like, it sounds weird sometimes, like, don't be afraid. It doesn't work that easy, right? But these are the steps how to not be afraid. Is switching your attention. It's like almost like pressing a button. Whenever you see you got lost in a trance of fear, by the way, you can actually watch Tara Brach's talks on the trance of fear. That may really, really help you kind of like get back to self and get back to grounded and getting back to the like learning a little bit how to work with it. Fear is an amazing emotion. We need it. We really, really need it. We can't survive without fear. And as Rumi says, like there's nothing to be, none of the emotions should be pushed away. We should invite them in, and I don't know, have tea with them. Sit with it. The high priestess here, sit with everything that comes, and you'll see as they come, you'll see as they go. Also, I think in Tara Brach's stories, there's this one story of the Buddha that the night before he got enlightened. When he got enlightened, Mara came, and Mara is the personification of all our shadow self, all our fears, and all our doubts, and all our what we consider to be bad and evil within ourselves, that what we reject and abandon in ourselves out of fear. And Mara came and challenged him greatly, saying like, who do you think you are? It's enlightenment is not possible, all this kind of stuff, you're not on the right path, all that. And he turned the arrows from Mara into flowers by by shifting the focus, by looking at them with compassion and understanding that this is just all fear. And then the story goes that after he got enlightened and he managed to master this fear side, this shadow self, Mara came, I don't know, 10 more years after that. She was coming every day. I don't know, it was every day or every week. Never mind. She was coming regularly, let's put it this way. And all the monks around were freaking out. And they were like, oh my God, Mara's coming, Mara's coming, Mara's coming. And they were like looking fearfully at the Buddha. And the Buddha would say something like, no, it's okay. Me and Mara are just going to have tea. So sometimes even if we succeed, we manage to kind of like really overcome a difficult situation. You've been through the challenges already. You've won. You're alive, you're well, but we keep the fear and we're terrified that certain things in our past don't repeat themselves. And we are like trying to take all the preventive things, and we're fast to cut parts of ourselves that might bring in the doom. First of all, what's important to realize that you've survived whatever that was, whatever painful situation you had been through. You've survived it, you were well, and you can work with this. You really can. And you have so much. That's your focus, the Nine of Cups. You have so much, you have gained so much through your experience and through your journey, and you really are able to switch into that sweet excitement of curiosity, and balance things up by trying things, tiny different things. It's really like a scientist. See, these guys got here this whole, it's not a stethoscope, whatever, that thing that symbolizes like a scientist, put a little bit of something into something else, and like be curious what's going to happen, almost like a chemist. Let's mix up this too. What's happening? Okay, no, I see smoke coming out, no good. In a safe environment, a little bit of everything, that switch can really happen. We can, it's not about forcing it, but we can summon sometimes parts of ourselves that were in the background or that we forget they exist. We can summon them by acknowledging and being grateful for what we have right now. Sometimes we literally, we can feel like we have nothing. We can feel like complete losers and failures or whatever. And we're actually doing pretty well. And we can obsess about like, what am I lacking? What do I need? What I don't have? How to get what I don't have, and all that stuff. But we can completely forget just how much we've got actually. And putting in this in perspective, it's very dramatic actually, because we do have a lot in now the moment. We have a roof over our head, and water, fresh water, and food, and we already have like more than what 70% of the population on this planet has, and we completely forget that. We feel so poor and so bad and so alone. We may be alone at times, or we may go through moments of lack and poverty, but we completely lose perspective. So gratefulness practice, like focusing on what you're grateful on, will really help you balance out your inner fire. And like this inner fire, as I said, it can come up with like strong sexual energy or passion or desire or lust or all this kind of stuff, but that's just because it's been off for so long. You can learn to work with it no matter the way it shows up for you, even if it's lust. You maybe, I don't know, your partner might be intimidated by it. Bring it up a little bit of something, a little bit of I don't know. I'm not here to give a couple of advice or things like that, but spice it up a little bit, but not just bring it all up. It's that tempering of everything. If it shows up in it can show up in anger. Anger is also great energy to get us to get things moving. It's a very dynamic energy. If it turns into aggression, yes, it burns everything in its way. But if it's just used as a mobilizing force, and again, like waking up to it and allowing myself to use it in certain way. What if I use my anger here too? Ooh, okay, yeah, this thing showed up differently than what I did before. The thing is that we are so afraid that things in our past don't happen again, that we kind of stick to a formula to avoid that. But we can just allow the parts of us that we've been denying ourselves, but just do different things with it. And your advice seems that you are going to do something quite different, and you see this is the beginning of a new cycle with judgment. It's a sort of wake up call. You are waking up, and that's what I got in the beginning also of this way. So Ace of Wands, but this judgment card, it's quite a huge change. And that change may be very internal. It doesn't necessarily mean that something dramatic will happen in your life to change it. That could happen as well. But it's more about your soul journey here. You have two angels. Two angels mean messages from the divine. And they both have red wings. It's really a lot about your soul journey here. It's really about taking a serious and clear assessment about where you are in your life journey. That would help like calming down the mind and your fear, because you can simply non-judgmentally, I know it's called judgment, but it's not meant as what we understand of judgment. It's simply assessment. Where I'm at. What have I been in my life? What have I learned? What are the things that I want to cultivate and grow? What are the things that I'm kind of sick of and I don't want to put up with that anymore? What can I do about it? What are the things that it's almost like the serenity prayer comes to mind right now. Well, it starts with God, and I'm really not so keen on this word. I prefer to call it source, universe, whatever works for you. I'm sure most of you know about this, but anyway, I'm just gonna say it anyway. grant, okay, God, source, whatever, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. That's really important. So many things are out of our control, right? And we can accept that things are that way. We can't just fence up completely and try to guard ourselves from everything that has a slight potential to hurt us. Okay, so grant me the serenity to accept the things that cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. Sometimes we tend to hide under this blanket of acceptance and not change the things that are under our control. And that's not really acceptance, that's just like and it's not a surrender, it's giving up on yourself. So, and you have a lot of courage, and I think you're getting a taste of that, and you're getting reunited with that. So that's fantastic. So, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is like so, and yeah, where the hangman talks about surrender and serenity. That's why it came through. I didn't realize why I thought about serenity, but actually the hangman is all about serenity. It's all about accepting the things that he cannot change. And it's also about like taking conscious decision to go there, to go and sit with it backwards, hanging from a tree. Well, a little bit extreme, but it's I just realized I'm putting this in a corner. Sorry, I hope you can see it now. It's all about like gaining wisdom from having a different perspective by trying things a little bit differently. See how you've done things before without judging, without blaming, without telling yourself like you shouldn't have done this, or I could have done things differently, or this is good or this is bad. It's really not about that. But what you can do is like take a different perspective and look at it with compassion. Look at everything that happened in your life and all the actions that you've done with love and compassion. Understand the things that you cannot change, understand the things that you can change, and gain that wisdom of the high priestess, that you do have that wisdom. You held by that feminine wisdom within yourself to know the difference. Otherwise, attempts to change things that we cannot change are futile, and accepting things that can be changed is also futile, right? I think, yeah, that's pretty much the wisdom of all this practice, trying to do things a little bit, different, and engage your curiosity, and taking that deep assessment about everything that, it's really about looking back at your whole life. Take that time, it's important. The hangman is also talking about like a long rest, and here you have rest as well. And the Seven of Pentacles, yeah, it talks also about assessment. What am I putting in? What am I getting out? What am I planting? What can I, sorting things a little bit. You've planted some seeds, the crop had grown. Now it's time to separate the ones that you're going to eat, the ones that you didn't enjoy the fruits of your labor, what can be replanted, what's something that you keep wanting to have in your life, it's something that you keep wanting to cultivate, and the things that, I don't know, you give food to the goose because it's still good, but it's good to as a fertilizer for something else. And there are things that you just throw away. That's not working, I don't need that. Let it rot and be a fertilizer just for the earth. And you don't do this from a place of hatred and judgment, and I don't like this and I don't want that. It's all part of the process. We all need to do this. These are natural cycles. You don't hate the part of the fruit or of the crops that you cannot eat, but a goose can eat, or a horse. You are happy that you have something to give to the horse, otherwise your horse will die, no? for winter. I don't know. I'm coming up with farming stuff. I don't know much about it, but a little bit, just enough. And yeah, this is your future position. This like huge assessment that happens at soul level, that is like very zoomed out and looks at your entire life journey and your soul journey. Even if you connect to, I don't know, astrology or with human design and all that it can give you an insight a little bit about your past lives and your soul intention, like north node, south node of the moon type of thing. This Seven of Pentacles is much more earthly. It's very much about your daily activities in your life and your routine and so on. So that big zoom out can help you then to give a little bit of zoom in and see how you can apply this on a routine level. And with the Knight of Cups and the Four of Swords here, I feel like you're opening up, you're really opening up, and you can move forward with an open heart, and you can also learn to take times to rest. Sometimes it can get like full on and fire energy, and you Aries especially. Once you get lit up a little bit, then it's like almost like there's nothing to stop you. You can just stay on, and that can lead to burnout. That can lead to extreme emotions and extreme states of being. And yeah, it makes sense, when we wake up like this from a period of feeling dormant and feeling like we've been hibernating almost. We felt numb or whatever, and we wake up like this. We just don't want to go back to that numbness. We want to use that energy as much as we can, and that could also lead to I don't know, whatever disaster that led to in the past. So I think you're learning to take your breaks. You're learning to be open, but take your rest as well, and coming back in and checking with yourself regularly. Obviously, a meditation practice would be very, very useful here. Having also the High Priestess, the Hangman, and the Four Swords, and all these like assessment cards. And if you don't have one, consider it. If you have a meditation practice, give it priority. It's very important for you to do that, and it will help you stay grounded, and will help you kind of like really, really welcome in this lion. You see, like the relationship between this lady and the lion, it's a relationship of loving compassion. It's not of power, it's not of control. This is the secret. And you're learning this through temperance, and you're learning this through the Hangman here as well. So beautiful, beautiful journey, Aries. Really beautiful. Now let's see what Rumi's got to say about all this. Resplendent with grace. I'll read up just a tiny bit from it. A sip of coffee. 24. Okay, there's a long poem from Rumi attached to this. I hope you can see it. It's a beautiful picture. So the poem says, "Greetings from my heart to you who are always with me, hidden inside as the heart. You are the compass of my life. My course is your way, no matter where I go. You exist everywhere and in everything, always watching over us. My soul brightens in the darkness when I speak your name. Far beyond the body, there is an opening from my heart into yours. Through that opening, I send you secret messages like the moonlight." Oh, and you have the moon right over here. "I polish the mirror of my heart to be your reflection. I make my ear the receiver for the tenderness of your words. You are in the ear, you are in the mind, you are in every burning heart. What am I saying? You are I. This is the way. This is my way to describe you, Rumi. You see, this kind of like makes me think also about this high priestess here, because she's sitting in silence, and she's like feeling through all this, and she understands this like separation, the me and you, and then if she realizes that me is you. And it's a very long story about that, and how you can take an intake, have your own intake on this one, use your own intuition, how you respond to this and how you feel about it. Okay, sorry, going back to this. Okay. Is it difficult to see your magnificence? Without the mirror the size of a galaxy, how could you possibly witness all that you are? You must catch glimpses of your truth now and then. Oh, if you could see yourself as I see you in all your glorious fullness of being. You are swathed in robes of grace, so light and freeing that they do not weight you down, and yet so luscious and full you cannot help but steer the moment of all of creation as you step this way and that. Oh wow. Okay, it seems like it really makes sense with this, so I'm going to read it all, even if it takes a long time. Of course, it matters not to grace whether you see or do not see, for grace simply is, without witnessing being required. Yet you might live rather differently, my beloved, should you realize you are not only worthy of grace, but actually dripping with it, saturated with divine presence, so rich it leaks out of you and causes sunlight to pour at your holy feet. Oh yes, you are resplendent in holiness and sanctity. Should you come to know this as I do, you would take each step in awe and reverence. You would not decide that not a thing in your world could be classed as mundane, and decide with bold fervor that you are living in godliness and must create your world through choices that honor love. No fear, even the most stubbornly persistent, would be able to withstand the sight of your magnificent beating heart, so wild with life. In the sight of that wild heart, you would have to call all your fears close to you, soothing them with your words of love like wild children in need of tenderness and quiet. My God, I'm loving this. I'm so happy this came up, because I felt like I wanted to talk more about working with fear. There are many practices, but this is just great. I'm going to read that again. So, no fear, even the most stubbornly persistent, would be able to withstand the sight of your magnificent beating heart, so wild with life. In the sight of that wild heart, look at this. You would have to call all your fears close to you, soothing them with your words of love like wild children in the need of tenderness and quiet. That's pretty much what our fears are. Then we reset. Then when rested, you would wake them from their slumber, and they would arise as falcons, ready to soar to the height of your most daring visions. Hunting for life to feed them, they will ensure the ample grace pulsing within your heart has its chance to come to life in the world and serve love. This oracle comes to you with a message. You may be wondering if you can attain this next stage of growth in your life. You are already well equipped to do so, no matter what you might believe about the situation, circumstances, or others involved, even yourself. You have within your soul possession more than enough grace to see you through anything you are bold enough to envision for yourself, or for any vision you feel you have bestowed upon you. So pray through unconditional love to access all that you are, to be supported by those beings that love you without condition. Pray to realize that you are so drenched in sacred grace that the well of your being is full. That part. All that is needed to nurture you on to the next step of your life path is within you now. Success is yours, but you must believe in your ability, your readiness, and your capacity to take this next phase of the journey now. How could it be otherwise? For you are one with grace. Oh my God, Aries, this makes so much sense. I hope you can see it. I hope it makes sense to you, because I feel like this reading had indeed encompassed pretty much everything here. Best way to work with here is by welcoming it in, like the whole story with the Buddha, right? And I don't know, the fear, like really talking with the fear, really soothing it like it's a child. Welcome your full being and your wild side in, and doing it so with by understanding how much you've got and how you got it all ready. Beautiful, Aries. Thank you so much for being here. If this reading resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful March. Happy birthday again, and I'll see you here soon.